Welcome to the Week 11 version of Coach's Night Out. I'm Tommy Bryan, your host. We are at Town Square Social, 145 Public Square, Lebanon. And I want to thank Cody and Kyle for allowing us the use of their upstairs loft. This is available for private parties through the holidays, and you need to contact Town Square Social and see if you can get your name and get your phone number in the hopper and rent this great room. And there's a smaller room beside us that there's a lot of Thanksgiving, holiday, work type Christmas parties that they have here at Town Square Social. It's a great venue and the food is outstanding. This is going to be our last show of the 2023 football season, and I do appreciate everybody who has tuned in this season. We're averaging about 1,500 views per week, and that is just amazing, and we appreciate you sitting at work when you ought to be working, watching it on your desktop or watching it on your phone on Thursday and Friday. Thanks. We appreciate it. Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Donnie Self and Rob Painter are our sponsors, along with Daryl Tidwell, loan originator with Southern Bank of Tennessee, the Salas Realty Group, 120 Public Square, Lebanon, THW Insurance Services, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, and DT McCall and Sons, Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville, home of free delivery. Week 11 in high school football starts a day early as Watertown goes to Community High School. And how many of you know where Community High School is? It's in Unionville in Bedford County. They play Thursday night, and if Watertown wins, they're going to finish third in their region, which is Region 4, 3A. Friday, October 27, Green Hill at Mount Juliet, Lebanon at Gallatin, the Kings Academy at Friendship Christian, Clarksville Academy at Mount Juliet Christian Academy, and Cookeville at Wilson Central. That will be the final games of the regular season. Chuck Gentry, head coach at Lebanon High School, is with me on segment number one, as he always is. And Chuck, coming off of a game, a non-region game last week with Hendersonville, back and forth, 14-14 for a good part of that game, and then Hendersonville put together a clean drive at the end of it. I want to say 17 plays and 94, 95 yards to win it inside 30 seconds. You were throwing in the end zone at the end of the game. They win 21-14. When you go back and look at it on film, what strikes you about that game?
Well, first of all, I ask our kids to play hard. I was afraid of the letdown from the week before, and when you turn on the film, we're playing hard. Not always clean, but hard and spirited, and I was proud of that fact. But we're driving there when we pin them down, when we punt it to pin them down, and we have a couple of penalties, things like that, and it just the second half, we just never got our momentum going, and it was always something. And then so third down, we threw it in the end zone to Chaston up, and didn't come away with it. I thought that was a good opportunity to try, and we threw it up and had a chance on a 50-50 ball.
And Bobby K got a picture. He's got it for a second, and the Hendersonville kid is digging it out, and he almost got it on the rebound.
Yeah, and that's a low percentage play, but a play where you're there, you're close. Let's throw it up. We felt like we had the size advantage and the height advantage, and if it was outside just a little bit more, he has a better chance to get it. But then we put it in the punt. And he hits a golf shot and puts it down there. And, they 94 yards. 6 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, something, and we felt good that we would get a stop and get the ball back and then have a chance to do it again. And we just couldn't seem to get off the field. Missed a tackle there on a second and long that would have made it third and long and would have been a good opportunity. But credit to them, they made some plays when we didn't, and then drove it down there. We had to waste our timeouts and, got in the end zone with 28 seconds left. And then we got the ball back and, probably should have got a little closer. We didn't execute, there to the first two plays well. And then we threw the bubble to Key, and he gets however many yards and gets out of bounds and gives us a chance to throw it, and we kind of got our hands on that one too.
Yeah.
But they're a good football team. We knew it would be a hard-fought game. Just didn't make enough plays to win. Wasn't clean enough to win. I think we had 10 penalties, maybe something like that.
Well, there were 20 penalties in the game. Each team had 10, and there was 190 yards in penalties. That's 20 accepted penalties in that football game.
Way too many at this point in the year. No matter how the officiating is going, you can't kill yourself, and there's things that we're self-inflicted wounds. There's some effort penalties there, and you're going to get holding every once in a while on a face mask and some of those things, but the pre-snap, post-snap penalties we can't have.
Yeah.
And again, the game was a little chippy, but at times the team has got to be bigger than your emotions, and hopefully we can clean those up. When you look back, we've had some penalties this year at untimely things, and we're not built for first and 20.
Oh yeah.
It's just that way. I don't know anybody that is, but first and 10 is hard enough. And anytime you get behind the chains, it makes it hard, and you don't want to do that to yourself. But I will say this: we went into the game trying to establish. We want to run the football, and we averaged almost 4 yards a carry, and that is better than we have been doing. So I was proud of the committee that was running the football.
Talk about that committee a little bit, because you got a freshman, Gian Azita. You've got Jordan Jewell. You got Andrew Hodge.
Key Corral.
Mariah can slip in there and run the football some.
We've it's there's a lot that goes into playing tailback. There's more to it than just turning around and handing somebody the football. And then with Brent Duke going down, and also so now our starting tailback and our starting sniffer are gone.
Right.
So Andrew was our backup tailback, but he was also our backup sniffer. So when those two go down, we just don't have another sniffer at this point that's ready to do that. So we put him at sniffer, and then Jewell is starting at linebacker. And as we came out of this thing, we said, all right, let's give it to Jewell. And after about 4 carries, he was like, hey, I might need some oxygen here.
Yeah,
and
because
so
he's playing wide open on defense.
He's playing wide open on defense, very physical, and has, with the knee, it set him back in his progression of getting in shape and everything. But Jordan is a hammer, and there's times that we'll need that. But we decided as a staff, we talked about it, and at this moment, just pure running the ball, Gian gives us the best chance. And we kind of slowly did that. We wanted to do that, 3 weeks ago, but I didn't want to throw him in front of everybody, and I also didn't want to throw him into the wolves real fast. But he's getting better, and we've done some things with him to do that. And sometimes it's Andrew back there, it's the one back. Sometimes it's him and Gian. Sometimes it's Key. And so we have pieced it together to try to do what's best for all of us at different times.
Well, you have done, I think, really a fine effort in trying to piece together a run game after your 1,000-yard rusher, Sean Heath, from last year, goes down in practice before that Watertown game, and you kind of had to shuffle the deck.
And, believe me, our plan was to lean on Sean as we got going. And I kept telling him, you're going to get your chances to run the ball 20 times and things like that. And, unfortunately for him, knee surgery, Brent had surgery today, knee, and so when you take two seniors that have played a lot of football and you replace them with another senior and a freshman, it's a little bit of a drop off, no matter who it is and what it is, and it's not necessarily talent, but it's reps and experience and things. Because not only do you take those two off, those are two that our kids have elected as house leaders that are two of the 5 leaders of our football team. So it's been tough, and again, I know there's people that think that maybe we should do other things, but uh, it is what it is, and we're doing what we think is best for the football team.
Turning attention to the Week 11 game, Lebanon at Gallatin. There's so many scenarios playoff-wise, but the one scenario that Lebanon can control, if the Blue Devils win on Friday night, you're in the playoffs. And that's got to be the goal to extend the season. This Gallatin game at Calvin Short Field is basically a playoff game.
Well, I told our kids last Friday night, standing in the huddle, that playoffs started Friday night. When we walk off that field, it's a playoff week. It's playoff week 0, and we have to win to continue. And we'll see how it plays out. And it's in our own hands. We control our own destiny. So it's what you look for. It'll be a big game, old school rivalry. It'll mean something, and it's the kind of game you want to play in, and then hopefully our kids will be up to the test and understand what it means. And there's all kinds of playoff scenarios and whatever, but the one that matters to us is we have to take care of ourselves and win the football.
Gallatin has kind of flipped the switch on old school Gallatin football. For years, they were going to line up and try to mash you. Now they're spreading it out. They got a sophomore quarterback who looks like $1 million, who throws it all over the football field.
Yeah, they're spread downhill running team with an air raid passing game. A lot of similarities between what we do and what they do. When we're in their sniffer personnel, 3 wide, 2 backs, they're more inside car than we're in the pistol, but the same stuff. A lot of power, a lot of counter lead, zone stuff, and then throwing the ball with the air raid principle, some wide receiver screens, backs out of the backfield and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see the matchup. But when they walk out there, they're going to be big. They're going to look good. They're fast, physical. We said big 6'4", 6'5" quarterback that is coach's son, grew up in the system, knows the system. So I'm sure he's like a coach on the field and helping them do everything. And then defensively, they're a 4-2-5 kind of pressure defense that will get after you, play man coverage, play some cover 3 zone stuff, and will really put pressure on you. And then their best football player, I think, is sitting in the middle of the field, and is the eraser back there that will go, and good tackler, 6'3", 190 pounds, can run and sideline to sideline and all over the field.
They've got a running back who I think has had some injury situations. Number 0, about 5'9", about literally about 230, 240, who's a thumper in there. If he's healthy, he's a load and really a chore to try to handle.
Yeah, he is a athletic big man and hard to tackle. He played fullback in their option stuff, and we were interested to see when the new offense, what would they do, and sure enough, he ended up being the tailback and has done a really good job for them. Took a helmet to the knee against Wilson Central. Came out of that ball game, and I believe he had rushed for 160-something yards before he came out, and hasn't been back in yet. I think he's been to the doctor and got some second opinions and stuff. But it's unfortunate anytime you get a senior with an injury. but he is a good football player and has had a good career. And I hope that he's healthy. I don't want to wish that for any young man, but he is a load to tackle once he gets going downhill. And the thing about him, he has quick feet too. So every once in a while he'll just step out of the way when you're trying to get on them legs. But a really good football player.
Yeah, pressure on the quarterback to allow your secondary to have some play back there. I guess that's going to be big.
Well, with a kid that is not necessarily a runner. He does run the football, but he's not necessarily a runner. He's more of a drop back passer. You would hopefully you can get some pressure and get off his spot, but they run some screens that you may, all right, what do we do? You come after him, they hit a screen, and then they pop one, and you're like, uh-oh. So, it's a lot of stuff to play into it. Hopefully it's one of those deals where we can possibly get pressure with 3 and then don't have to. But you never know. We'll see how it goes. But in today's spread offense, they do a lot of run RPO stuff that gets it out of his hands quick and screens and throwing it sideways horizontally like we do. And so it's hard to get pressure, And so hopefully maybe we can get them in some 3rd and longs and stuff, and then play some games and do some things with them and make him hopefully get it out quick. But you never know. It's a big chore to playing defense against a spread offense with a quarterback that's a trigger puller and with athletes the way that they have them is hard to defend.
Well, it would sound like your offense needs to put some points up. It's pretty simple,
yeah.
But
if you can tell who's in charge of that to make sure that they do that, I would greatly appreciate that. That our offense needs to score some points. 14 and 14 the last 2 weeks is not good enough.
Yeah. Well, and it's the kind of thing that it kind of feeds on itself, doesn't it, Chuck? You have a little success early, and boom, maybe that thing starts rolling.
Well, it's like a lot of things, it's contagious. If you're having success breeds success, and if you're struggling, sometimes struggling leads to more struggling. And one, we have to get out of our own way. 2, we have to, little cliche, we have to stay with our blocks longer. We have to take a little more pride in that of all right, my man, I'm not coming off my guy. It's not going to be my guy that makes the tackle. We might have to run a few better routes, throw the ball, make a quicker read, get the ball out of our hand. We might need to make somebody miss. And just there's a lot that goes into offensive football and a lot of execution, and it takes 11. And, you look at it and you're so close, but you get so far away. And again, it's just one of those things that it's I say spread football and all that stuff. Well, hey, it makes it hard to defend. But if you're not clicking, then so a lot of times it's 3 and out, and boom, there you go. But it's it makes it for quarterback to be clicking, the receivers to be clicking, the offensive line to be clicking, the running backs to be clicking, and all of that going with everybody in sync, in tune, all focused and all doing the right thing at the right time. And hopefully we get that. Today in practice was one of the better practices that we've had where it looked like that for the most part. It's not ever going to be perfect, but you hope that at this time of year that you can get some continuity and some stuff going.
You pulled one out of the hat last week when you ran that tackle eligible to Jace Gardner. Talk about how you decided this is something you're going to put in your package.
Well, obviously every year linemen are sending stuff now on social media. Hey, Coach G, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see that? And people do, they sprint and throw it back to tackles all the time in college football and everything. And obviously with our struggles running the football, I was looking, all right, what are we going to do when we have to have a play to get a yard to what is the best, what gives us the best chance to do that? And the way that they play defense with no overhang over there and stuff like that. I told Coach Angel, I said, I'm going to put this in today. And I said, Jace Gardner's going to be happy, and Aiden Donald's going to be the maddest man in Tennessee.
Because you never ran it with Aiden.
And so last year when Riverdale run the hook and ladder to their tackle, Aiden was like, that's perfect, Coach, that's perfect. And we were good enough on offense that we didn't need to do that kind of stuff. And so we called Coach Williams. We were talking about the clock and stuff, and I said, I called timeout, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew exactly what we were doing and exactly what's going on. And we were talking about this afternoon. Some of our coaches and some of our players said, we're running what?
What did you tell the official? Because
before the game, but we told them we've got to pass, and I promise you it'll be backwards. Joe said it. He was there. We worked on it. I told Jace, you have to be behind Biscuit. Biscuit, you can't drift. You have to go sideways. This side, you have to block for him so he don't. You have to throw it backwards. You have to catch it. And then you have to – the first time he caught it, he ran this way inside to try to go run over somebody. And I'm like, no. And he was like, Coach, I'm just playing. I'm like, I'm not playing. And so it was one of those things, and I said it on the headset. This is going to be one of the best calls I've ever made, or one of the worst. And again, sometimes drastic times calls for drastic measures, and I felt confident that we would execute it. We did. We had 3 linemen out there. I don't know if they blocked the soul. They were supposed to. Jace kind of outrun one and flipped into the end zone there. Something we'll all talk about for a long time, but I'm glad it worked.
Shop Springs Creamery is the official chocolate milk supplier of Blue Devils football, and the folks who make that possible with their sponsorship, Family Medical Associates and Pediatrics. This week's team meal, of course, we filmed this on Wednesday. Thursday's team meal will be provided by the football class of 1996, Elliot Carson, Ryan Alds, Todd Tressler. They're going to feed Town Square Social. And then on Friday, Ward 5 Alderman Tick Bryan and the Paul Jewell family will provide a meal from Zaxby's, and 2 good meals for the kids on Thursday and Friday.
Yes, sir. Thursday afternoons, they're always excited to go up there and get a little devotional and book time, and then good meals. And then Friday, it's more game day oriented, but it's good to know that they love to say, Coach, where we Jackson Reynolds is the most popular man on Thursday. Text your dad and ask him what we doing. And so it's great. We appreciate everybody that supports us, and it's big for some of those kids, and so it's a big thing for our program.
Well, there's the principals who are providing that. Carson Alds and Tressler all played for Lebanon, all love this program. Tick, a graduate of 1976, who was a football manager for 4 years, and Paul Jewell, we share the number 85. He wore it a lot better than I did when he played, but the old guys still care about the football program.
Yeah, it's great to have the old guys when they show up and talk to the guys and get their picture made with them and tell the old stories. And I often tell the kids, someday hopefully you'll be in the position to give back, and you can tell our stories.
Yeah.
And pay it forward.
Hey, best of luck when you play Gallatin on Friday night, Chuck.
Thank you, Tommy.
Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, with us on the first segment of Coach's Night Out. We're live from Town Square Social. We'll be back right after this. to our second segment. If you're not here, you're missing out. That's all there is. You're missing out. Coaches Night Out live from Town Square Social, 145 Public Square. This is our last show of the 2023 season. Thanks to D.T. McCall and Sons, Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville, Cumberland University Athletics, THW Insurance Services, LLC, the Salas Realty Group, Daryl Tidwell, loan originator with Southern Bank of Tennessee, and Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Rob Painter and Donnie Self, the principals there. Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland University, with me here in the second segment of the show. And Tim, it's really, and this has been kind of an epidemic in county football this year. Second halves have been awfully tough for just about everybody. You had a 7-0 lead at Bethel. A 7-0 lead, at Bethel in McKenzie. You maybe missed an opportunity to get some more points, and then Bethel kind of flips the switch there in the second half, and they win 24-7. And Bethel's considered a top 10 football team.
Yeah, and what you said really nails it on the head for us. It was missed opportunities. We had a chance to score a lot more points, a field goal, and possibly another touchdown in the first half, and we didn't. And even going start of the fourth quarter, we're down 14-7, and we just missed a read. They had a wide open guy in the end zone that, we could have tied it there 14-14. It's just we played them tough. We just they executed when they needed to. We didn't, we didn't finish it, and that's kind of been the story sometimes with our second half is it's not finishing what we did. I was really proud of the way, we started the game with the first 30 minutes of the game. We had the ball over 20 minutes,
Which
our
was the
script
formula.
was working. It was working. What we did was working, but you got to our opportunities we had to put it away, and we didn't.
And I'm sure there gets to be some frustration in that, particularly in that second half, when you say, okay, we need a play or two to kind of keep going and doing what we're doing, and it doesn't materialize.
And it is frustrating because we're there.
Yeah.
You got to finish, and that I told them after the game, and it wasn't I wasn't griping at them or saying that they're immature or whatever, but we just got to grow up and find a way to win, to finish the game and win, because it's a youngish team, but those guys have played enough where they've got to we got to be able to finish, and that's what the frustrating is. We're playing well enough at times to win the game, but you got to play the whole game to win the game.
Well, and that was going to be my point. You're still a youngish football team, but 8-10 weeks into the season, when you count in those open weeks that you had, they're not really sophomores anymore. They're on the way.
You got sophomores that become more or less juniors, and the freshmen have become more or less sophomores because they're playing so much. And it's just biggest thing too is, and I was proud because they kept fighting with it, and it's just a part of you got to grow up and just take control of it, because the biggest thing is adversity happens in every game. You're gonna have highs and lows, and when the lows hit, you can't hang your head and say, "Here we go." It's got to be, all right, it's okay, let's go. Not here we go, let's go. And hopefully that starts happening really soon, because these last 2 weeks we've played pretty good football against two pretty good football teams, but I don't want to. I'm tired of consolation thing. But you played well. That doesn't matter. We need to win the games.
Yeah. Well, that's the prize at the end of the week. You put in all the practice time. You put in all the study, the work, and then you get to Saturday. That's where you get your reward.
Right. And and then turn around the second half of that. To give them a little credit, they kind of Cumberland. They kept the ball away from us and kind of turned the script to the same way and just didn't let us have the ball, because they more or less flipped the script in the second half and had it about 20 minutes of the 30 minutes. And that, if you're going to keep it the first half like that, you darn well need to keep it the second half like that. And that's part of it too. But it's part of continuing drives and making the right, one little missed block here, one little missed pass opportunity there, and the drive stalls out, and their drive, that's the difference in the game. Their drives didn't stall out, ours did. Because the first half we made them turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing everything we wanted to do.
A side note, that was kind of my headline in Wednesday's edition of the Post, is that Traylon Shepard hit a milestone, a serious milestone. Cumberland started playing football again back in 1990. There's never been any back to accumulate 3,000 yards in a career. And Traylon, who you said when you signed that bird, that he's going to be good, he's going to be special, and he has certainly filled that bill, went over 3,000 yards early in that football game against Bethel.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tremendous – the thing about him, he's a really good running back, really great, but he's a great teammate, and he's just a great person too. He's a big cog of who Cumberland is and who you want Cumberland to be. You know, he's just somebody you can point to and just said, follow his lead and you wouldn't do too bad. So, he's a big part of us, and he's had a really good career, and hopefully we can add to those yards before these next 3 games and kind of pad that for the next person to have a lot higher mark to hit.
You got to get on those buses, and you got a heck of a haul to go outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, to play St. Andrews. That game on Saturday. What's the travel look like? When will you leave to get there?
Probably the most disappointed I've been the last month was I thought it was a 6.5-hour trip. And then for whatever reason, I did put it in MapQuest look, and it's an 8-hour trip. And so that's the most disappointed I've been in a while. So we'll leave about 8:30 Friday morning and just, spend the day on the road to get there about 6 o'clock or so Eastern time that night, and just hopefully we get there in time. We'll probably do a walkthrough before we eat dinner, and then Saturday morning do another walkthrough. But it's part of it. But that's kind of the schedule we were given, because that's one of our crossover games that was given to us that we had to reschedule. So
and you kind of did those guys a favor, didn't you? Because they asked out of the original date in order to pick up a money game.
Yeah, they played Davidson College, and when they were supposed to play us, they had that game and never told anybody that it was that week. So, we had an open date when they had an open date. So, we're still going to play you.
Yeah.
We'll just play this date. And it kind of makes it tough, because it made it where we're going on a whole month road trip for a month and not being home. But, that's part of it. We agreed to it. So we're going to get on those stinking buses and go a while. We need to get frequent. I don't know what kind of frequent flyer miles you get on a bus. Maybe I can sit closer to the toilet on the back end of it or something, so I can go to the restroom. I don't know any good part about riding a bus.
They can dress it up all they want to with Wi-Fi and screens to watch movies and all that kind of stuff, and air conditioning, but a bus is still a bus. And 8 hours on a bus is a tough go. What do you know about St. Andrews? What have you seen on film?
That defensively, they're a base 3-4 defense. They'll get in an even front. They'll get in a 4-3 kind of look on defense, and they're an okay team.
Yeah.
And offensively, they try to run power and 3-step game and inside zone, and they've kind of tried to dabble a little bit in some triple option stuff too. But it's a team that looks like they're trying to still figure out what they want to do. The coach I think this might be his second year there. They're just trying to figure out, what they want to do, and he's kind of got his arms tied on stuff he can do. But, they try hard. I mean, I've tried to tell our kids, we're not getting on the bus. It's showing up in the games. You're going to play it, and it's, they for the longest time against Union, who beat us, it was a 13-6 ball game, and Union didn't just blow them away or whatever. You got to play, and you got to. That's why you show up to games. I think around here this past week, an undefeated team got beat by a team that not won a game. So that's why you play the games, because you never know what's going to happen. So it's a team that you got to take serious. They're a college football team. We got to take them serious, and it's going to be as a long bus trip. Any of those trips makes it more challenging. So you don't need to go in there with a mindset of we're just going to show up and the game's going to be over. We got to try to get Cumberland better, and that's what we've got to concentrate on. Is just concentrate on Cumberland being consistent. Let's play the first half, then the second half. There's definitely things we can work on and do better, because if we'd have done that last week, we might be talking about something really good that happened. So it's the way you look at it and the way you present it to the kids. And you don't cut to it. If they won a game, no, they haven't, but that doesn't mean they can't.
Right.
It goes back to your mindset of how you show up to that game.
If I remember the last time Cumberland went, I went on that trip. You guys dressed at the gym, which is up on top of the hill, and you had to take tents with you to have on the field because you didn't want to hike up that hill at halftime. Will you do that sort of thing?
Yeah, we're not going back to this old guy ain't walking but once. And I'm gonna hitch a ride and we go back to it's unfortunate. Those obstacles that they have, what I just mentioned ago. But I mean, it's probably not quite a mile, but it's darn near close to a mile that you got to go. I mean, they have to walk it too.
Yeah.
But we'll take our tents and we'll do halftime right there. We're not coming off that field till the end of the game. So which another thing makes it a little more challenging, because it's not something where you can walk 2 or 3 minutes back to your locker room at halftime or anything. It just makes it more challenging. So it's a tough setup for them. I mean, their football field is just kind of in the front of the campus, and everything's in the back of the campus, and which makes it tough.
Well, long trip, kind of strange logistics there at the stadium, but the goal is to go there and win a football game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not going to show up to any game. The next two, we're thinking the same thing. And that, again, that's Cumberland taking care of Cumberland. We've got to work on and we've got to make it, as coaches, we got to make it important. And you do hope that hopefully that some guys that might not have gotten some playing time get some more playing time. But you got to get to that point first to make that happen. So, it's going to be, it's college football. Every game we have is going to be a challenge. So it's about us perfecting Cumberland and getting better, and obviously hopefully coming back with a win.
Tim, I appreciate the visits all throughout the season. You've been here every game, every week, and I appreciate that. Thanks for being here. They don't want to just see me talking on this thing. They want to see me talking to somebody, and I appreciate your attendance and willingness to be a part of this.
Thank you. And half of those people that are watching tonight are watching you, so don't take it lightly. Hall of Famer right here.
Well, thanks anyway. Tim Mathis, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Go Phoenix.
Hey, we're going to take a break right here. We'll be back with our third segment of Coach's Night Out here at Town Square Social after these words. third segment of Coach's Night Out. We're live at Town Square Social, 145 Public Square, Lebanon. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Check it out. Great place to eat, great place to gather. Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Darrell Tidwell, loan originator with Southern Bank of Tennessee, the Salas Realty Group, THW Insurance Services, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, and DT McCall and Sons, Carthage, Lafayette, Lebanon, Franklin, Cookeville, home of free delivery, make this show possible. Week 11 starts on Thursday as Watertown goes to Community High School in Unionville. Friday, Green Hill at Mount Juliet, Lebanon at Gallatin, the Kings Academy at Friendship, Clarksville Academy at Mount Juliet Christian Academy, and Cookeville at Wilson Central. Josh Crouch, head coach of Green Hill, with me here in the third and final segment. Tough go last week for your kids, wasn't it?
It was kind of we had 3 turnovers, only had 1 and had 2 untimely ones. Go up 7 first drive, get the ball back 3 and out, and then had a turnover right after it. Had an opportunity to go up 14-0, and just didn't put a good complimentary football game together.
Cookeville's a dangerous football team, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, I knew that they were going to be one of the teams that we needed to beat to be able to put ourselves in a good position to be in a region championship or even competing to go to the playoffs. And the quarterback there is one of the better players that I've coached against, just as far as a running quarterback goes. And 10 was, in my opinion, one of the better players in our region in total. So I thought they had a good team. I thought we played them really well. Just had some inopportune penalties and turnovers, and had some of that youngness come out at wrong times on last Friday.
Their quarterback is almost like an old single-wing tailback. They line him up in that gun, and they're running quarterback power. They're running leads and letting him go downhill. He's a load.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 240 at quarterback, and throws it well enough to be respectable, where you can't really denote 9 guys to the box and play man on the outside. We did a pretty solid job, but anytime you get a quarterback run, you get an extra hat for the running back. It ends up being a -1 for the defense, and everything's a +1 in leverage and angles game. So anytime the quarterback's a threat to run the ball, obviously it puts a little bit more strain on the defense. Saban has been saying it for many years. Anytime you get somebody like that in the backfield that can run the ball, it puts some stress on it. I thought we did a really good job containing the run. We just out of the 3 plays they scored on last week, they had 1 play over 40 yards in each drive.
Really?
So we talk about splash plays a lot defensively and getting the momentum. And in high school football, if you can make people drive on you, usually it's the bend but don't break mentality. And we had 3 plays over 40 yards and put them in scoring range, and they tipped their hats to them. They scored when they got down there. So they got in there opportunistic and scored, and it ultimately just got down to one possession and not being able to punch it in there late.
And there's got to be a certain amount of frustration that sets in. You're on the sideline, you're working the game, and it's just not come together.
Yeah, and we play with a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, and I felt like the last 2 weeks has not been up to the momentum side of our energy on the sidelines or even after scores. It didn't feel like we were really excited about it. It almost feels like we're waiting for the next opportunity to not be successful instead of or wondering about what bad is going to happen next instead of snowballing positive
and building on the
outcomes.
positive.
Yeah. So there's a little bit in the back of our minds, a little bit as players, just not to make a mistake. And I think that's when you start making mistakes, when you start playing a little bit timid. And we got to get back to playing some good complementary offense, defense, special teams, and building on each other and snowballing into positive outcomes.
You've never made excuses, but you got a couple of kids kind of beat up, don't you?
We got a couple that are in there, but I don't feel like it's prevented us from being in games and winning games. We lose an overtime game and we lose a 1-score game. Both of them are close, and we have opportunities in both games to solidify those games and win them, and just don't for whatever reason. Got to go back to the drawing board and see if we can put our kids that are out there in better positions and go out there as coaches and give us the best opportunity to win.
Friday at Mount Juliet, the Mayor's Cup, all that goes with playing an in-city rival. But it's basically a playoff game. It's a game that, if Green Hill wins that football game, you've solidified where you're going to be in the playoffs. There's a scenario sheet out there with all these different options, but if you win the football game, Green Hill takes care of business.
Yeah, and we've been preaching that last 2 weeks, is that we had opportunities to control our own destiny. We still have everything in our hands out in front of us, but I think right now with the scenarios and everything that's out there, the best thing we can do is just tell our kids to take care of one play at a time, put our best foot forward and see what happens. There's big football games all across the region. Last week was a big one to kind of see where we're going seating wise. But, at the beginning of the year, my wife told me this, and I'm thankful to have her, but 6 wins or 7 wins at the beginning of this year after losing, 4 college players on offense and replacing Caleb Carver and some of the sophomores that have stepped up and played really, really good football for us is it's encouraging. And, we may be in the moment, but I feel like even the valleys, even the highlands, we've got to be consistent with our praise of our kids. And I think we've done a good job. And I think we're battling and we're fighting. We're just getting life lessons right now and learning how to be successful in tough times.
Mount Juliet presents some problems in that they've got 2 running backs in Crudup and Edwards who are basically equal. Their numbers are right there together, over 750, 800 yards each, and their carries are about the same.
Yeah, and you tie that in with a Division I quarterback. It's hard. You've got a guy that's 6'4", 6'5" that can spin it and throw it around, and it's kind of the same thing about Cookville is a little similar, other than the running quarterback. But if you really sell out to stop the run and stop 4 and stop 2, or then 3 can end up spinning it out there and beating you with his arm. You got to be really, really good on your reads and your keys. But when you got 3 or 4 guys that are Division I college players out there on the field in high school, it's tough. They got a Mr. Football finalist, in my opinion, at defensive end. That the Fiorita kid has double-digit sacks. Their linebacker group is really well coached, big defensively. They're big. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be an opportunity for us to kind of get out there and with a chip on our shoulder, see how we play. And I do think that our kids, no matter what, even in situations since 2020, they've never backed down from anything. So I think we'll come out ready to fight. But, it's a tough matchup. It's a really good football team Mount Juliet has, and they got really, really good skill players, really good offensive linemen. That's the reason why they're 9-1 or 8-1.
And coming off a game where they didn't play well, and they're going to play like they've got something to prove.
Yeah, I've been there. 2 weeks ago, we were in that same boat. You almost feel like when you don't play well and you lose, you've got opportunities to win games, and when other teams win it or you have turnovers, you have examples as to why the game didn't go that way. It's a little bit easier to take a loss, but when you just don't play well, that's the hardest thing. And I was there 2 weeks ago, and the world was, luckily the sun doesn't rise and fall on Green Hill football. So I was there, and I know Trey's got his kids really excited about playing another football game and get that bad taste out of their mouth, and I'm sure they'll come out ready to play.
Their kicker, Echeverria, makes you go the long way. Having seen him up close and impersonal, he's kicking it through the end zone on kickoffs and has really turned into a fine punter when you can make them punt. But to make a team go the long way is a big deal in high school football.
It's such a big weapon to have when you look at having a specialist and sometimes he just toys with them and puts it on the 1 yard line on kickoff. And their guys will get down there and tackle them inside the 20. And they've got 2 really good specialists. They've brought a freshman in that kicks well. Tate Marabit's kid comes in sometimes in onside kicks. He does some place kicking and kicking. And I believe they tried a 53-yarder against Gallatin and hit it with the 99 kid, the regular kicker. And when you make a high school team go 80 yards, it's tough. Anytime you kick the ball off. You have that weapon back there, and again, he's one of the many weapons that they have, and They got a good program and good football players.
Talk about, if you would, Josh, a couple of keys that Green Hill's going to have to take care of to be where you want to be as that game winds down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so offensively, I think we did a really good job getting one the ball last week, and Cannon, our sophomore quarterback, did a really good job of divvying it out where it wasn't just going to him. We seen Dallas Jackson come over from the defensive side of the ball and give us some reps. And Braden Jones gave us some good catches. I think we've got to move the ball around. I don't think we can just hand it to one person or throw it to one person. I think we've got to really make them defend all of the field. We're a little bit more of a spreader team, and we're trying to get everybody out of the box in order to run it. So when we have to run it, I think we're gonna have to do a really good job with those front four that they've got. Defensively, it's been our secondary the last 2 weeks of just giving up big plays, and with a Division I quarterback like they've got, we just got to make them consistently snap the ball again, see if we can get a mistake or get a penalty or get them behind the chains on first down. And then special teams wise, if we can create opportunities for our offense to get the ball back, that would be big for us, just to get the momentum going. But I think the biggest thing is going to be defensively. If anybody can hold them to 2 or 3 scores, and give them your opportunity on offense to score when you get inside the red zone.
Taking advantages of the opportunities when they present themselves, it's got to be huge.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be many of them. All right, so there may be 2 or 3 plays that's going to decide a football game, and we've got to be on the plus end of both of those. And that's something we've struggled with a little bit as of late. We made some of those plays early on in the year, and was doing the ball was bouncing right, and now we just got to get back to playing solid, good football on both sides of the ball. And if we have to flip the field, we got to our special teams got to win for us.
You've not been shy about running your quarterback, Cannon Burroughs, on some designed quarterback runs, and he can get you some yards.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with his development over a year, from going from freshman ball to where he was one of the better athletes on the field to now stepping into the quarterback role, where now you're just you're trying to find your spot. But he is developmentally, exponentially, from just being able to read a defense from too high shell to numbers in the box to, if I got the green light to run it, or I can throw it out there to one of my receivers in a one-on-one matchup. And the amount of processing he has to do as a young kid, it's been impressive to watch him play for a little bit. We're excited to have him for 3 or 2 more years. But as far as he goes as an athlete-wise, he's one of our better athletes. He can pick up a baseball and throw it 80 miles an hour. He can take a basketball and dunk it. He's one of those special kids that does a lot for us. So, we would, back to that Cookville conversation, if you got a quarterback that can run it, it puts some stresses on the defense, and it makes them kind of show their hand whether they want to play too high and a lighter box, or they can load the box and see if we can spin it out there to some of those skill guys.
Well, again, he's not a sophomore anymore. He's 11 weeks into the season, and again, you put a lot on his plate.
Yeah, and we've, Coach White does our offense and calls it. Coach Jones does our passing stuff, and we threw it last week 38 times. And Cannon had 250-something yards passing, 2 touchdowns. And we don't sit back and change anything just because he's a sophomore or a young guy. We're going to give the full, because we feel like we've got some good athletes. We got to spread it out in order to win games, and just making him make clear decisions and letting him be the general of the offense.
Is the building, Green Hill High School, is that community excited about this opportunity to go right up the street and play Mount Juliet?
Yeah, I think so. So my son plays 10U football for our youth league, and some of those kids in the youth league had split off from Mount Juliet Youth to come over to Green Hill Youth, because that's the only really youth league we had for the last couple of years was the Mount Juliet League. But man, we go to practice every week, and hey, what's the Bears look like? What do the Hawks look like? What kind of game we're going to have? And so I think people are excited to be there. I know we've got a lot of people that have said they're putting off a vacation or going somewhere to come to the game on Fridays. So, high school athletics is so big with providing experiences for kids. And, we can't survive unless patrons come and watch the game. And for Coach Perry and their staff and the environment that they have over there at the high school, it's one of the better ones, I feel like, in the state, of when there's two really good programs that are playing each other. There's no track around the field. There's no extra stuff that you have at a lot of high school places. That is a football facility, and it's one of the rare ones in the state and the county. And we're looking for an opportunity like it was in 21 to go over there, pack our side out, and be excited about two good football programs.
I know when Lebanon went there, they were standing in the end zone where the concession stand is, and I can only imagine how much bigger that crowd's going to be for Green Hill and Mount Juliet, two natural rivals, neighbors, going at it on Friday night.
Yeah, and we're excited about it, man. I think high school football, in the most pure sense, is about two communities playing for each other, and it really what wakes me up in the morning. Like, it gets me going when you talk about kids growing up and playing for a school and wanting to play against each other. A lot of these kids grew up playing with each other in youth leagues, so they're all friends and they all want bragging rights, and we just want to be able to provide a good experience. And the first thing that we can provide is our group coming over and supporting those kids and playing, and that atmosphere is it's the best football game I've ever been a part of as far as the atmosphere goes, and been fortunate to be in some big ones, and I have not found a better atmosphere other than Green Hill Mountain Juliet week 11. Regardless of where we've both been at the last 2 years, it's always been a really good crowd.
Josh, I know there'll be a mob there for that football game. Enjoy the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a big time with it. And this is our last show of the season. Thanks for being here and closing it out with us. We appreciate it. And I was telling at the front end of the show, we've been averaging about 1,500 views on these shows. And I think people have a real interest in high school football. And it's not a show unless the coaches come and visit with me, because they sure don't want to watch me talk for an hour. But I appreciate your attendance and being active and being involved with it.
Absolutely. Anyway, it's one of the highlights of my week whenever you call me and text me and say I can come. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here. And
thanks for that.
It's awesome. And you've done it for a long time for the right way. So we appreciate you and all you do.
Thanks, pal.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Well, for everybody here, for Hunter, for Justin, I'm Tommy Bryan. I will talk to you later.